Uh, Welcome to another episode of Parul Institute of Design, Parul Institute of Fine Art at Parul University. I'm your host, Ali Ahmed Sheikh. Today, we'll be talking about storytelling and the business of mythology in Indian television. Let's start with the Saga World. So, Saga World is the brand name for various companies founded by the heirs of late Dr. Ramanand Sagar, that's Mr. Prem Sagar, his son, and Mr. Shiv Sagar, who's present here, his grandson. Saga World draws inspiration from the mother brand name of Sagar, which has been synonymous with mythological, fantasy, historic television programming in India. Saga World Multimedia, as the name suggests, has business interests in film and television production, theme parks, cinema halls, online portals, museums, theme hotels, entertainment centers, restaurants, cultural centers, etc. The brand child of Dr. Ramanand Sagar, Sagar Arts was created in the year 1950s. The Sagar Group has produced over 25 motion pictures till date, which have remained evergreen hits in the annals of Indian cinema. Saga Arts ventured into television production and created some of the most enjoyable programs in Indian television. Arguably the most equipped television house in the country, which the awe inspiration Ramayana, the sagas, entered the collective consciousness of the nation forever and produced on air over 3,000 hours of the most amazing, gigantic spectacles ever witnessed on television. Some of the serials include the legendary hits like Shri Krishna, Alif Laila, Vikram or Vetal, and Jai Ganga Maiya, amongst the others. Ramayana was the first mythological serial on Indian television that created this whole new genre of mythological serials. As per BBC figures, Ramayana has been viewed by over 650 million people worldwide, of which 40 million viewers regularly watched it on its first telecast. It set a Limca record for the world's most viewed mythological serial. Shri Krishna also generated magnificent ratings, topping the television rating charts for over 120 weeks as the number one rated program. It created advertising history by being the highest revenue earner for Doordarshan by earning almost 1 billion rupees as advertising revenue. Arabian Nights, as a collection of the world's greatest tales like Aladdin, Alibaba and 40 Thieves, Sindbad the Sailor, etc., was another well received serial and was successfully telecasted overseas. The Sagar group of companies are continuing to live up to their heritage and inheritance with shows for satellite television like Hotel Kingston, Arsalan, Hatim, Gurukul, Lucky, Hello Dolly, Prithviraj Chauhan, Sai Baba, Ramayan, the new version on NDTV Imagine, महिमा शनिदेव की जो इश्क की मर्जी वो रब की मर्जी, that's a period love story. Chandra Chandragupta Maurya, to the latest being Jai 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 Bajrang Bali. Shiv Sagar is the son of Prem Sagar. He has been involved as a creative producer in shows like Mahima Shani Dev Ki and Jai 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 Bajrang Bali. He is an MBA from Indian School of Business, a gold medalist, hospitality management from Les Roches, Switzerland, one of the finest hotel schools in the world. His short films, The End, at New York Film Festival, New York Film Academy, won the Best Short Film. Also in New Zealand Short Film Festival in 2012, and of course the prestigious Dada Saif Phalke Award in 2012. He's been creative producers in shows like Jai Bajrang Bali, which ran for almost 800 episodes, and in Mahima Shani Dev Ki, which ran for 4 years. He has also directed a 3D film, Arushi Ma Ambe, for the Gujarat government, in which Mr. Amitabh Bachchan gave his voiceover. He produced a light-hearted mythological television show for Big Magic Channel called Narayan Narayan, based on the life of Narad Muni. And that's our guest, Mr. Shiv Sagar Chopra. Shiv,
Thank you,
welcome
Ali.
to Parul Institute of Design and Fine Art at Parul University.
Thank you.
Also, viewers in between, in case if you have any questions, please write it in the comment box in Facebook. We will take it from there, all the possible questions. Shiv, now on to you.
Yes, thank you, Ali, for the lovely introduction,
Most welcome.
and namaste to everyone, and great to be here with Parul University. And so, as per our topic today, I'm just going to kind of give you a little background on the family and the legacy of Ramanan Sagar. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal journey and what all work I have done, and then move on to the actual storytelling part of mythology, fantasy, and historical genre. Basically, the costume drama or period drama, because we have specialized over the years into that genre of filmmaking and television series. So I'll give you all some inputs about how we do a storytelling, what are some of the useful tips we use for storytelling, what are some of the restrictions, etc. And then we can just talk about the future a bit, the future of television and web series, and now what this whole digital age is coming around. So uh, my grandfather, we used to call him Papaji. He uh, started the company in 1950, and the family is, originally from undivided India in from Lahore. So family was from Lahore, and we had some roots in Peshawar. So that time, so in the and also we have some roots from Kashmir. So the family is also, a lot of our family comes from Kashmir, and we are originally Chopras, so we are, Punjabis. But then there was an incident when my grandfather had come to Bombay, and he had never seen the sea. He saw the sea for the first time in his life, and coming from a inside area, not been to a coastal area, he was amazed to see the vastness of the sea and the grandeur of the sea. And so he came to Bombay, and he was a filmmaker, he was a writer, and he prayed to the sea god, like to Varun Devta. He prayed and he said that, accept me in your city, because I don't know anyone here, and I want to make movies, and I don't know anyone here. And he prayed to the sea, and a angel came from came into being. And of course, now the Sagar became famous, so we all use Sagar in our names. But originally, we are like having a different surname, Chopra. But of course, that is still there. So in the partition, he was a writer, he was a journalist in Lahore, and born. He was born in 1917 in a small village outside of Lahore, uh, and then he always had a writing streak, in his in himself, and also, I think writers have to go through a lot of ups and downs and hardships, so that's why they become writers, because they go through a lot of things in their life, and then they are able to write about it. So he had a very tough childhood growing up and everything, and then he got into journalism, and then he went on to started writing some short stories and things like that. And then of course he's written a lot of he's written a book actually called Or Insan Mar Gaya, which was a love story set in the partition. So that was one of the novels he had written during the partition, because he had witnessed the horrors of the partition. And then, of course, he crossed over to India, came on this, reached Delhi. Then they had a lot of struggle period and came to Bombay. And then slowly he started writing. So his basic talent was writing. And then later on, he migrated to become a director and a producer and things like that. And in fact, Raj Kapoor's first hit movie, Barsat, was written by him.
Okay.
So when he came to Bombay, he went to Prithviraj Chauhan and Prithviraj Kapoor, and he actually told him that, I have a film script. And that time Raj Kapoor had one flop movie at that time before that. So Prithviraj Kapoor hired him as a writer, and he wrote Barsat. And Barsat became a big hit, and RK Films was established after that, because if you see the RK logo also, it is from the Barsat movie actually. So RK Films, and then of course he wrote a lot of films, and then he slowly got into direction and produced a lot of his movies. His first few movies did very badly. He had 3 4 flops. His first 3 4 movies were completely flop, like not even one person coming to the theater to see it. And then again he went back to writing, and so he had his ups and downs. But then in the 70s he had a beautiful period where he had many silver jubilee hits, Arzu, Charas, Lalkar, Geet, Aakhe. So all Dharmender, Hema Malini, Mala Sinha, Rajendra Kumar, all those big stars. And then the banner really got established. The Sagar Arts banner really got established in the film world. Then in the 80s, he kind of saw, you know, was wanting to make a Ramayana. He was a very spiritual person, so he always had this thing: I want to make Ramayana. And he didn't know how to make Ramayana, because he says, how do I say such a long story in only 2.5 and 3 hours? So when he saw the TV medium come, and he saw that I can make episodes and I can make these longer stories, so then he got the idea of Ramayana. And of course, for many years, he struggled to make it, and everyone said that this will never work, and this is a mooch mukut, and ye kabhi nahi chalega, and everything. And rest is history, because Ramayana broke all the records, and it had took the nation by storm. And I think everyone has a story. Whoever's experienced that era has a story that the train stopped, and marriages stopped, and everything happened. And now, even again in the lockdown, we had the same thing. We are lucky we again had a telecast of Ramayana in the lockdown, and
Yes.
again everything had stopped.
मुर्दा उखाड़
So
के
every
फेंक
time Ramayana comes, everything stops. so uh, so that happened, and then of course Sagaraj Banner did a lot of television shows, like Prithviraj Chauhan, Dharamveer, Shani. We did the Ramayana a second time in 2008, and then for almost 30 years we kind of had a very strong hold of the market in the Indian television industry. We did a lot of shows, and my personal journey has been, I studied my hotel management, so I was never actually inclined, though I think I always had a writer in me somewhere. But initially growing up, like we grew up on the sets of Ramayan. Umargaon mein shooting hoti thi, so we used to be in Umargaon on the sets in Gujarat when we were over there. So I was just 10 years old at that time. So we've actually grown up. We've seen from a very young age. We've been on the shooting sets and everything. But I was personally never inclined. So I did my hotel management from Switzerland, and then we have a family hotel in Manali, in Kulu, Manali, where I was running that hotel for about 5 years, and it was a loss-making company, which I turned it around. I used to do the marketing and operations. Then I went and did my MBA from Hyderabad in the Indian School of Business, as you already mentioned. And then post that, 2008, there was a show coming on Shani Dev, which Sagarats was doing, and I always had an interest in spirituality, occult, and I used to read, Amar Chitra Katha, and I used to read a lot of those books on mythology. So, and Shani, and also I do some Jyotish also. I have an interest in astrology. So when I heard that Shani was coming, I said, this I have to do, because Shani is like for me the dark lord of India. So I said, this I have to do. So I did that show, and that was my first show in 2008, which I did as a creative producer. And then that was very successful. It ran for 4 years. It was the number one show on NDTV Imagine. There used to be a channel which now is shut down. And then after that, I did Bajrang Bali for Sahara. and that also was very successful. It ran almost for 800 episodes, and then of course did a lot of shows. Did Vikram Betal and Durga, and I did a 3D movie on Ambaji, which is playing at the Ambaji temple in Gujarat. Actually, it's a 3D movie, completely shot on a 3D rig with two cameras, and it's actually India's first 3D mythological movie. So even when Vishnu throws his Sudarshan Chakra, the Sudarshan Chakra comes right at you from the screen. So I directed that movie. That was the first movie that I directed. That was about a 1 hour film. And below the Ambaji temple, that is playing actually. They have made an exhibition and a 3D theater and all. So you can put on your 3D glasses and watch that movie at Abu Ambaji.
Hmm.
But it's not available anywhere else. You have to go there and see it.
Okay.
And then of course, like recently I'm just shot for a series on Vaishno Devi Mata. It's a 10 episode series. It's a limited series which we are making for an ashram,
Hmm.
and we are also going to show it at Katra at the Vaishno Devi shrine. So that is under production right now. And then we are working on some 3D animation movies, some web series on 3D animation and things like that. So this is roughly, what I have been my personal journey. But what I would like to say about the storytelling. So in mythology, the storytelling is little restricted because you're dealing with the religion, whereas in fantasy you have more freedom, because fantasy you can there is no religious feeling involved. You fantasy you can go anywhere, do anything. And so in mythology, the things are restricted. People have a certain image in their mind of the god. They already have a perception. Like Raja Ravi Varman has painted these the Hindu gods, so he's made a certain impression. Before him, there were some artists who would have painted Hindu gods. So we already have an impression of how these gods look. And the school that we come from, the Sagar school of mythology, we feel that you cannot tamper too much with these images of these gods. Like I had done a show on Big Magic channel called Narayan Narayan, in which it was a comedy show,
Yes.
and uh, and in that we had, the channel head told me that let's do full out comedy. So we had the gods playing cricket in heaven, Asura and the Devtas were playing cricket in heaven and all, and we went completely berserk on the creative side. But then, what I realized is that, and my dad told me actually that what you're doing is wrong, because you cannot do this kind of, you cannot, play around with these subjects like this, because even like Narad Muni was a very big rishi. He was a very learned rishi, and a very respected rishi. So I started uh, getting these WhatsApp messages. These forwards were coming where people were saying that someone from the Sagar family has done this show Narayan and is making fun of the gods and things like that. So I also got this forward message, and when I realized that actually you cannot make a tomfoolery of these subjects. That's why I said in mythology your hands are tied, and you have to work within those limitations of storytelling. And you because unlike Greek mythology, because in the Greek mythology the uh, no one is praying to Zeus, and no one is praying to Apollo, and no one is praying to these gods anymore. Europe is now uh, Europe is now fully Christian, so or atheist or whatever. So in India these gods are alive, and they are part of people's daily lives. And so there's a certain image that we have to follow, and we tend to follow that image. That is our school of thought, the Sagar
Hmm.
school of thought. Though lately a lot of things I see on TV and web, and people have really gotten very creative uh, with with mythology, and I think mythology as a genre also has really expanded. Like previously, there were not so many writers, there were not so many production houses who were doing mythology, and now I think the market for it has become much bigger, and a lot of authors like Amish Tripathi and Immortals of Melua, and these have become very cult books. There's a lot of literature now out there, and uh, one one very big advantage of doing mythology uh, is that you don't need to take you don't need a known face. I don't need to work with a known actor or a known face, because the characters in mythology are so big that they overpower the actor. Like Ram is such a big character that you can take a unknown actor, a new face, and make him play Ram, because the character of Ram is so huge. So that from a producer point of view, I find it very advantageous, because you can actually give a chance to newcomers and give a chance to new people to come and act and be part of the story. Uh, Hello?
Yes, yes, Shiv, you're
Yes, yes. All right. So the other thing, uh, the other thing I'd like to talk about is that uh, in I think in the mythology genre, you cannot look at it purely as a business, because because this is a bit different work than the normal business work. I mean, we titled this as the business of mythology in India, but I feel that when you're doing a mythological show, or you're working in this genre of religion, so there is some sort of a give back that you have to give to the society, because this cannot be looked entirely as a business. This has to be a bit of a charitable cause, like a mission, or some sort of a give back, and some sort of a educational, where you want to teach the values to the young children, and teach them about your culture. So I think that that aspect always remains, like, because even I've seen many times in the subjects that everyone doesn't get a chance to do the subjects. Like, you need some special blessing from the god to do these kind of subjects. Otherwise, everyone doesn't get to do, like, these subjects choose you rather than you choose these subjects. So I think there is always that in mythology especially, I think there is always a little non-profit element to it. So that and for that we have actually formed a Ramanan Sagar Foundation, which is a non-profit organization through which we do a lot of research in mythology. We give grants to writers to do research on various history and culture of India, and we also do a lot of charitable activities like women empowerment. We support underprivileged children and things like that. So we keep doing some of these charitable activities through this Ramanan Sagar Foundation. Uh, uh, Other than that, I would like to say that in storytelling, in cinema, there is no right and wrong. Okay, so one of the problems which I think Indian television is facing now is that in a in a film, there is a director who's taking a creative call, and everything is being run through one person, and one person, because see, no one is right or wrong. You like yellow color, I like red color. That doesn't mean you're wrong or I am right. It is a one person's conviction, and only one version of the series will be shown on the screen. Because if I give a same story to 10 people and I tell them that visualize it and tell me, all 10 will have different visuals. So I think end of the day, this is a one person's creative conviction, who wants to see it in a certain way, whether it's the storytelling, it's the costume, it's the casting. You might like a certain casting, I might like a certain casting. But then nowadays what happens is, there's, especially in the television industry, unfortunately, is that that has been lost, because everyone is you're trying to please everyone's ego and trying to make everyone happy, and with the result, it's becoming like a khichdi. Whereas if you see in the Doordarshan days, the kind of television shows that used to happen, like Ramayana and Mahabharata and Karamchand. Karamchand was such a good show.
Yes.
There were some fantastic shows on TV, and the people who did those shows, they were very big filmmakers who had got a huge body of work. Like even when my grandfather went on and did Ramayan, he did Ramayan when he was 70 years old, and before that he had done so much of work, so he knew filmmaking at the back of his hand.
Hmm.
So that's why he was able to make a show like Ramayan, where you see, the in spite of having no production value, no graphics at that time, no technical finesse, but the content was so good that it, even today after 34 years, when it played on Doordarshan became the number one channel in the country after 34 years. And I was very surprised how the younger generation took to Ramayan. I never expected that the younger generation will take so well to these shows. So, so I think that is what is lacking in Indian television, is that creatively there are too many people taking calls, and it's not one person's vision and one person's direction and all that. And that is why I think the Indian television, some of the content you watch has actually become so regressive. Like I think some of those shows in the 80s and 90s were more modern and more forward looking than the shows that we have now. So that is the unfortunate thing about it. But there is some hope that we have from web series, and now I think there's a lot of good content coming on the web, and audiences are also much more exposed to international cinema, international web series, and I think more intelligent content we should see coming out from the web, because I feel that we really underestimate our audiences, and our audiences are not that that dumb as we make them to be. Actually, I think our audiences in India and everywhere are actually very intelligent audiences, and I think we majorly underestimate them. So, what would be cool to see is that how, if we can take some of our cultural concepts from India, because we have a lot of beautiful spiritual concepts, cultural concepts, which, like, if I see the whole concept is like of Maya. It's basically Maya, and but the way they have taken that concept of Maya and put it in a story form, and the Matrix and the robots and all of that, it's amazing. Or if I look at the movie Inception, so there is a lot of there's a lot of great ideas, and culturally I think India is very rich. There's no dearth of ideas. We are very rich as a nation and very diverse as a nation. And what would be interesting to see, if people can take some of that content and put it out for an international audience on the web, because on the web anyone can watch it. It is not like television ki only people in India are watching it. On the web anyone can be watching it in any part of the world. Like I believe this Mighty Beam series, which is done by the Chota Beam people, that is a big hit in Brazil, the Mighty Beam series. So there is a lot of content that can actually go across the world, and what would be nice to see some Indian content crossing over, other than just some Slumdog Millionaire, and showing a poverty and all those aspects of India which everyone loves to see. But other than that, also I think there's a lot more that we can offer. Uh,
I was going to ask you that, but you already mentioned about the Slumdog Millionaire part.
and I think also COVID has changed a lot of things, because I think COVID has forced us to go internally, because we've had a lot of time to ourselves with our families, and not so much socializing and things like that. So I think after COVID, the era is going to be very different. There's going to be a post-COVID, like a before COVID and after COVID era. So now we are in the post-COVID era, and it would be, and I think like now people are wanting, in fact, spiritual content, some occult content, something different. People are really fed up of the very formula kind of cinema. Now those formula cinema is not working anymore.
Hmm.
And even if you're a big star or you have a big following on the web, I think on a web series you will uh, people are not so much caring for a big star or something. They want a good content, whether there's a big star in it or not. So I think the internet is again going to have a big change on the way we watch and what we watch. uh, and the other thing, yeah, uh, so one, what else, Ali, you'd like me to talk about?
Well, we have few questions from the students who have already shared few questions with me.
Sure,
So I'm going to ask them, and in case in between, if anything that you think that comes on the story part of it, or maybe how the
sure.
business of television that you want to
Yes,
talk about, that how the television series or serials basically are run, and what is the revenue that they generate, or the
sure.
so you can probably
So,
talk about
so
that.
see, so see, television as a business is uh, now it's not that interesting from a producer point of view. Television is not so interesting as a business anymore because television as a medium is going down. Advertisement revenue on television is also going down, so the budgets of television are going down. Also advertisers, because the TV channels, they generate their money through advertisers.
Yes.
Now there's a lot of advertisers who want to invest on digital platforms,
Hmm.
so like YouTube or other digital internet medium.
Hmm.
So so as per se, I think there's been an explosion of content. There's been so much of content now, you don't know what to watch. Even if you go on YouTube, or there are like so many OTTs, there's this channel, there's Z5, there's Sony Live, there's Amazon. So there is so many shows. There's such an explosion of content. So in terms of revenue, advertiser revenue, I think the revenue has gotten more gone to different. It's become more segregated now.
Hmm.
First, like television was the only option you had to watch. Now you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on a tablet. So as per so even if you see the like the Star or the Z and all of that, they even sometimes release their TV shows before on the OTT platform, and then they release it on the television.
Yes.
You know, so even a lot of them are looking at getting on digital platforms, and also they are able to monitor viewership patterns much better on the digital platforms. They know the demographic. They know are young people watching, are 35 plus watching, are men watching, women watching, what is the kind of person watching our shows. So that's a very big advantage that they get as advertisers, that they have a lot of data that they can work in, whereas in TV that data was not available. In TV, it was just viewership and TRP basis and all of that. So now I think, see, TV will always remain, and in a big country like India, there will always be television around. But things are changing very fast, and if the television industry needs to come up with some very good content, because now the exposure to content is very huge. You're competing on an international level in terms of content. So you cannot do substandard work anymore. If you do substandard work, you'll be thrown out in a second.
Do you think there is a scope for the television industry to grow the way radio, went back and then again they lifted when the all the FM, channels started on?
So
So,
see,
do you
see if
think
you
there is any
see,
kind of that
I
future?
mean,
Or,
definitely there is future, but like in fact, I think in the US, in America, they went through the same phase. They had a phase where TV was going down, and people were all going on to OTT and Netflix and all of that. But then they made such interesting shows on television. They started making these, different season, like all these HBO shows. different seasons, like 10 episodes, like this. And actually, the television industry bounced back. So it is, if you give them content, abhi like Ramayan used to play at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. So in terms of in terms of, if you see that, people will say that अरे Sunday कौन उठेगा, Sunday कौन देखेगा, 9 बजे सुबह है, कौन उठेगा, रामायण कौन देखेगा. But the content was so good that people came at that time to watch it. So I think if you give good content, people will find their way to you and find the way to view the content. And I think uh, unfortunately, the Indian television is not giving that kind of content as of now.
But there
And
is a room for comeback, right? The way
there is
the
always a
OTT
there is
platform is
always a
changing.
room. Always a room for comeback. I feel if in Doordarshan days you could create such good shows in the Doordarshan days, what lovely shows they were. Bunia, then Tenali Rama, and Malgudi
एक दो तीन
days.
चार.
Malgudi days, what shows, what lovely shows, what lovely writing. So I feel that now, since we started these daily soaps and this 5 times a week daily soaps, Monday to Friday, it's become like a factory. And creative work, it cannot be done in a factory format. For creative work, you need time to think, you need time, and for creativity cannot be done so fast. And now it has become very factory kind of mechanical work, which is what I feel is lacking. So I think India, the way it is going, will leapfrog directly to the OTT now, because now we are already moved on to OTT, and now after lockdown, everyone has gotten used to watching shows on iPad and on the computer and this and that. And now, in fact, COVID has also, I think, accelerated the web series boom in
Yeah,
India. So now
because of being house arrested.
yeah, I know. Yeah. And now you have a smart TV, so you can watch all your shows over there. So the things are changing, continuously changing. But like I said, it's only content. Good content, people will find the way to watch it. If you really give them something good, they'll find the way to watch it. So it's all about that.
All right, Shiv. So let's take the questions from our students, which we've
Sure.
received. Yeah. So
Sure.
someone has asked, what's the difference between mythology and history, according to you?
So actually, it's very interesting question. And in India, I think we have this beautiful thing, because we call it mythology, but actually it is not. It's a wrong word, because it's come from the Greek word mythology, but it is not really the right word, because mythology means myth, that this never happened.
Hmm.
Whereas in India, we still don't know. This might have happened, this might not have happened, and I'm not going there whether this happened or not happened. But there is a doubt in India, and there is a lot of scientific evidence also which proves that these things might have happened. So we have a very unique blend in India of history, mythology, fantasy. I think what we have is very unique. No other culture in the world has this. This is only in India.
Okay. Next question is, what do you think is the Mahabharata and Ramayana are actually history or a mythology? Again, in the same something
Same
similar.
same question. Same question.
Yeah. What difference did you feel in yourself after producing your first mythological series?
So it was very funny, because I did this show on Shani, and uh, I study astrology and I study Jyotish.
Hmm.
So that's just my hobby. I don't do it professionally. I just do it as a hobby, because I love playing around with the it's I find it very fascinating, the stories and the mathematical calculations, and it's got a bit of astronomy also in it, because uh, so it was very funny when I was doing the show on Shani in 2008. I got a black dog. I somehow adopted a dog, and he was black in color. And I was also going through my Shani dasha, my mini dasha of Shani. So there were a lot of things that happened at that time when I was doing the Shani Dev serial, including a visit to the some Shani temples, Shani Singapore, and things like that. So a lot of coincidences, a lot of these kind of things happened during the making of the series. And my dad, Mr. Prem Sagar, he had conceived this series in 1992, and there was a book by a American author called The Greatness of Saturn, and he had by Robert Swoboda, and he had read that book and was very fascinated by the book. The book was also an English translation of a Gujarati book, actually, and so he conceived that show in 1992, and then he went to his father, my grandfather, and he told him, he said, I want to make a show on Shani, and my grandfather said it'll never work. शनि पे कौन देखेगा शो कौन देखेगा शनि पे in 1992 he conceived it and 2008 it was made, so almost after 16 years. And that time my father was also going through some astrological mahadasha of his shani and things like that, so there were a lot of things. So I think when you're making these shows, especially on the religious subjects, it definitely has some impact on your body, mind, soul, and I think these kind of experiences do happen. I've seen it often.
All right. So moving on to the next one. How do you glamorize a mythological show when you make it in a modern time? Since we are not aware of how that era was actually looked like.
If you make it in a modern time,
Yeah, as in today's time, if you create any show,
yeah,
how do you
see,
glamorize it?
yeah, I mean, I think like now, see, people are used to a certain production value, and people are used to six-pack abs. Like your Ram must have a six-pack ab, and your the actors must look in a certain way and things like that, because I think that now has become the very basic benchmark for production value. And also like graphics can really enhance and glamorize shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like now these days you don't need to make a lot of your sets, even a lot of your sets and all happen in
Yes.
graphics. So graphics adds a lot of value, the actors add a lot of value, the costumes, the styling, all this adds a lot of value. But again, I would say that more than all this, more than the glamour portion, the the concentration should be on the content and not on the glamour portion,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people are only focusing on the glamour and the exterior and missing out on the soul of the content. The soul should be first good, and then whatever you put on the soul, you put the skeleton, you put the body, you put the blood, you put the hair, you put the skin, all those are accessories. So essentially the content should be good, the soul should be good. That's more important than the glamour portion.
Okay. So Shiv, information that Parul Institute of Design and Fine
Yeah.
Art, we have different courses. So all these questions are coming from the students from different departments. So obviously,
Yeah.
it's a curiosity if somebody's studying,
Of course.
fashion in Parul Institute of Design, or there are students who are studying, visual communication. There are students in filmmaking,
Correct.
interior designing, product designing. So probably even the chakra that you use in your, series, it could be, in the modern time, how could that be designed? So something of a product design student would imagine
Correct.
and
No,
explain it. So
in
these are
fact,
the kind of
in
curiosities that
fact,
are coming up.
yes, yes. In fact, Ali, good you brought this up, because we also I've made this website called sagarworld.com,
Hmm.
and on this we have a e-commerce portal.
Hmm.
So we are actually wanting to do some very cool merchandise and some very cool product designs based on the mythology and history and culture of India.
Hmm.
So we'll be very happy if some of your students want to join
I'll
us for this
definitely
endeavor
share it.
also.
And yes, you could probably brief us. I will leave it as an assignment, or maybe a challenge to
Yeah,
them, and they'll come up and they can also generate
yeah,
some business out of it. Why not?
absolutely,
So I
absolutely.
hope all the students are listening. There's an approach
Because
for you guys.
because I think merchandising is a very big opportunity which has not been tapped that much.
Yeah,
Like it's a big opportunity.
I shall talk about it to you once again when we are off show, and then I will bring it as assignment for the
Yes,
department.
yes,
All right.
yes.
So moving on to the next question that we've received. Why you chose mythology and not different genres?
No, see, that is something a bit of a family heritage that has carried forward. But also with me personally, I really enjoy the mythological stories from a very young age,
Hmm.
and I've been inclined towards the other side, the spiritual side, and things like that. Like I have other people in my family,
Hmm.
youngsters like me, who have no interest in the mythology.
Hmm.
Like, so it is not necessary that it carries on to the from one generation to the next.
Hmm.
It's not a guarantee. But I personally love the genre, and I love doing work on this. Having said that, what happens is you become the victim of your own success.
Hmm.
Like now, if I say Yashraj were going to do a horror movie versus a love story, because Yashraj is associated with love stories.
Hmm.
So like Sagars are associated with mythology. So
Hmm.
we tend to get more work in that space because they feel that inko mythology pata hai, so they will do a good job.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I would love to work outside the genre also of mythology. I would love to do some modern kind of stuff. And in the future, we are planning some
You were
more.
writing a story, right, for a film?
Yeah, we are writing something very interesting, non-mythology based.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll wait for it then.
yeah.
Anyway, the next one is what challenges you face or what things you have to keep in mind when you make a mythological series in the modern times. The challenges, basically.
Um, Modern, I didn't understand the question actually.
Oh, basically, what are the challenges you would face in today's time if you have to make same kind of series in mythology?
Uh, I I think now, see, like I think the challenge is today that we have so much of international exposure,
Hmm.
and we have seen all these superhero movies and these fantasy movies coming from Hollywood. So I think there's a lot of expectation on the quality. There's a lot of challenges, like people want the graphics and all to happen very nicely, should not
Hmm.
look tacky, and typically in India we always have a budget problem. Everyone has a budget problem, right? So
Is it
so
because
sometimes
everyone wants to make or generate more profit? What
so
is the reason?
so I think like what happens sometimes is uh, people are used to watching such good content now that sometimes I think we face a challenge of living up to the expectations of the people, but also we have certain constraints with which we work in India. Like if you see the budgets of the Hollywood movies and their web series and everything, we don't work with those. We don't have those kind of budgets.
Hmm.
So in the budget, what is possible, we do it, because it is a commercial art at the end of the day. It is not a pure art. It's a commercial art. So there is a word commerce also involved with the art. So जितना budget मिलेगा उतना ही हम
उतना
लोग
ही काम होगा.
उतना ही काम होगा.
Acha, so I think related to that, there is something very similar.
Yeah.
It says that mythological series made in recent times versus mythological series made in previous generations. It's your production house which have produced, two different eras time. So you can explain
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah, now, like I said, now the focus is gone more on the presentation, the production values, the graphics, the look and feel, and uh, I think in the previous shows there was more soul. There was more soul. There was better writing, and but that's maybe uh, because I'm a bit nostalgic about those shows. But I think that previously, in spite of having so many limitations on budget, on graphics, having no technology, but they still made such beautiful shows. And now I feel that we do a very good job on the dressing, but the content and the storytelling and that part I feel can be done better.
Okay. Shiv, someone has asked, like, since you are an alumni of New York Film Academy,
Yeah.
how youth there, as in the international youth there, probably the batchmate of yours or the people that you know from there, and youth in India pursue mythological content. I mean, in a very different way. So, what are
So
the differences between the international, basically students and Indian students when they look into mythology?
actually, see, they don't know much about the mythology over there. But I did the course over there at New York Film Academy, and it was a very short course. It was just a 2 month course,
Okay.
and a lot of the students that came there, they were completely new to the industry. They were like just first time learning about films.
Hmm.
And whereas when I went there, I had a certain experience and everything. So I requested my professors there that don't put me through the normal course, and let me make a short film instead of doing the very basic things that they start you with, like the A, B, C, D of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So my professor there was very sweet to let me make a short film, and I made a short film called The End, which
Hmm.
is there on my YouTube channel, on the Sagar World YouTube channel.
Okay.
So it was about the Native American people over there and things like that. So that film did got some good awards and got some good recognition.
Hmm.
So that was a see. I think the big difference over there is that there you have to do everything yourself. In India, we get a lot of help. We are because I guess we are so many people. So you have a lot of help that you get, to carry this, to do that, to put up a light. Over there, you have to literally do everything because there's a major shortage of labor over there when you're working. So you have to multitask much more over there, and you have to
And of
work.
course, the production value also increases, right? As
Yeah, I think like they have a great efficiency in which they work, and everyone does everything. Either over here I feel that we have more of division of labor, like oh, this any small equipment also, like now I was doing a shoot in Umargaon, so we had a small baby, like a shoot of a king goes with a small baby, like to show his praja. So
hmm.
we had a we hired a those plastic, those small baby dolls. Okay,
Hmm.
so we first took it on hire, and we had two attendants that came to take care of the baby doll, and they were charging us 1,000 rupees a day for just as an attendant to the doll. It's a plastic doll, you know. So then we realized that why can't we buy our own doll? It's just a small baby doll. Like we can just buy it. Why we have to pay 1,000 rupees to each attendant? So either kya hai, like the working is different. The
Hmm.
working wise, it's very different. There, I think there is uh, uh, it's tougher there because you actually have to work very hard. You have to work much harder than you work here, I think.
The next question: Life of Ramanand Sagar, sir, was full of ups and downs and inspirational for all. Didn't you ever feel to make a biopic on him?
Yeah, so we that is one of our plans, and my father, he's written a book called The Epic Life. Please look at it. It's on Amazon. It's available on Amazon and on our website, and there's a Hindi version of the book also. So you can actually I can show you the book. This is the book called The
Okay.
Epic Life. So it's called From Barsat to Ramayana.
Okay. The
And,
very first film that he wrote
yes. So
as a writer.
so this book has done very well, and we were on the Kapil Sharma show to promote it with Arun Govill, Deepika, and Sunil Leri, Ram Sita Lakshman, and we were
Mm-hmm.
luckily on the Kapil Sharma show just before lockdown to
Okay.
promote this book. And so we do intend to make a biopic on his life, because the he had a very beautiful life journey and a very beautiful, life graph and story, and what all the things he went through and everything. So we would love to do that project.
Okay. So the next question is, what creative differences did you feel with the whole team when you make a mythological series versus a fictional series?
Creative differences.
Hmm.
Uh, I think like what happens in mythology, we have to do a lot of research, because if because people know these stories very well, and you cannot go creatively. You cannot go completely like fictional, and you cannot make up your own stories. You can work within a certain limitations. You can be creative, but basically, if people feel that the story that they know, sometimes they might feel that if they know the story and that is not being showed, they might not like it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think though in that terms, you have certain restrictions in the mythology.
Okay. Shiv, so, probably last one or two questions that we're
Yes.
taking from students, and then there is a small, question answer, a rapid question answer round
Sure.
there, and you can score and probably
Sure.
get admission in our department. So,
Okay. Okay.
all right. So, how the best compliment you ever received as a filmmaker by your father and grandfather?
Oh. See, I think my more than my grandfather, my father, I think, recently gave me a beautiful compliment because I wrote the story and screenplay for this Vaishno Devi series.
Okay.
So he was very happy with my work, and he loved what I worked and what I wrote. So recently, and just about 6 months back, I wrote this. So that time he gave me a very beautiful compliment, and he loved my writing. And I really respect him because he has a lot of experience, and he has a very creative mind. And he had made the Vikram Betal series. He had directed the Vikram Betal series in 1985. So he's like my teacher in the filmmaking. So that was a compliment that I got recently.
Very well. Okay, so the last question from the students that we are taking: a tip for aspiring filmmakers, especially when it comes to create a mythology show.
A tiff,
Tip, yeah, a tip
tip,
for
tip, tip
yeah.
for. I think do a lot of research, and stick to the stories, and stick to the original stories as much as you can,
Hmm.
and play with the visuals. Make beautiful modern visuals, but
Hmm.
keep the story as what people know already.
Hmm. Okay, so we move on to the next and a quick round that you have to be a little, maybe you can be funny and be real
Okay,
rather than just being
okay,
formal.
okay.
So, first question is that, yeah, any one work of Ramanan sir and Prem sir which inspires you a lot?
No, my personal favorite is Vikram and Betal.
Okay. Okay. Second, if you ever asked to recreate any of the work of Sir Ramanand Sagar, what would it be?
I would love to make a spy thriller on Aakhe serial, on his Aakhe movie. He had
Okay.
made a movie which was India's first spy thriller with
Okay.
Dharmender and Mala Sena.
Okay.
I would
You
love
want
to,
to recreate
I
that?
would love to recreate that. Yes.
Okay. But best advice you have ever received?
Be real.
Acha. What's the thing that is essential to live a balanced life?
What's the thing to? I think you have to be honest to yourself, because like many times we are not honest to our own self. So you have to be honest to yourself.
Okay. Number 5. First thing that comes to your mind when I say the following words: A. Competition.
Ambani, Mukesh Ambani.
Money.
Money, Kuber.
Love.
Love. Nice. Sufi.
Okay. Fear.
Anger.
Okay. If you could be invisible for a day, what would you do? It's the next one. Huh?
Yeah. I would uh, I would go I would go to the White House and see what the president is doing.
One thing you wish you could change about the Indian film or TV industry. Let's talk about TV
I would
industry
love
because
to
you're
see
more there,
some
yeah.
more intelligent and intelligent content coming out
On the television.
on television. Yes,
Okay. What would you consider to be your greatest achievement?
uh, accepting myself
You have already
as a
accepted.
person. Yeah,
Okay.
and
Any one quality that your grandfather has and you wish you could have that too?
I wish I could more of his writing gene.
Okay. And the last one in the list, any one quality that your father has and you wish you could have that too.
His patience.
All right. Okay, so thank you for these answers. Shiv, before we go off, any piece of advice that you would want to give it to our students or upcoming creatives of the department, no matter whether they come from interior, fashion, product, filmmaking, visual communication, your words to them, last words.
Yeah. Now, I would give them advice that when you're working, keep your ego aside, because we always bring our ego into our work, and when you're working, is nothing is personal, everything is work. So don't take it so personally, and be very honest to yourself, because you should, if you're not honest to yourself, that's it, all starts with that. And always have an aptitude to learn and to grow, and to because I think other human beings are your biggest teachers. So learn from other people, be nice to people, believe in karma, because it's real. And every day do something nice, do some nice deed, do one nice deed every day. And be patient, just be patient and keep working. That's it.
All right, Shiv. Thank you so very
Okay.
much for your
Thank
giving your
you.
time
Thank
to our
you.
students
Thank
of
you.
Parul Institute of Design and Fine Art at Parul University. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellie, for moderating
You're
it.
most welcome. Meanwhile, all the students, please be safe and keep your surrounding also safe for the better life and yeah, to stay away from COVID. For more updates, you can follow us on Facebook at Parul University. Also, our Insta handle Parul University, Parul Institute of Design, Parul Institute of Fine Art. And yes, till we meet again, this is your host Ali Ahmed Sheikh signing off. Take care, everyone.
You,
Bye bye.
Ellie. Bye.
Bye.